Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back. This is really freezing cold, so the background is back to blue, and it is a really, really cold morning here in Krugersdorp, the greater Johannesburg, I would say. So how's it going where you are? Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you if you're watching the recording. We really appreciate it. And today I do want to shout out that as you move through this video and you find value, please remember to like this episode and to also share it with your friends and your colleagues and all of those good people. And then if you get loads of value, then also please do consider subscribing, doing that. Also have Nikki in the house this morning with all the latest news as usual. We also have Norma, and Norma is talking about the entrepreneur's journey to self-validation. So really looking forward to that one. I've got a quick tech tip that I do want to share with you, something that I've been thinking about, and then some quick announcements. So how are you all doing this morning? I hope you are doing fantastically well. We've got Mark Weston-Ford. Good morning, Mark. Nice to see you. Elbow cough. I don't know what that's for, but okay. Good morning, Mr. T. Nice to see you. Barry, goeiemorgen. Good morning. Hope it's going well. Did see you earlier this week. And then also Renee, good morning. Nice to see you. Thank you for saying hi. Charmaine, good morning. Nice. Thank you for saying hi. Neil Phillips, also down in Cape Town. So good morning, crisp Cape Town. Yes, I've sort of gathered that it's a little bit colder than usual this year. And possibly even a little bit wetter. I'm not sure that it has been in a while. So, but yeah, Ferry, good morning. If there's somebody can talk about the cold, it'll be Ferry because he's down in Bloemfontein. And then Mr. Craig Finch, good morning, Craig. Thank you so much for saying hi. If you're here, say hi. This morning, we're not giving away any coffee. We're just going to take a little bit of a pause. And then we'll be back with that at a future episode. So just so that you know, if you were wondering, where's the hashtag? All right. So ladies and gents, let's get into this morning. And I'm going to go straight over to Nikki and let's hear what the latest developments are in the financial planning profession in South Africa and elsewhere.
Good morning, Francois. And just to pick up on what you said about Bloemfontein, it is as cold this morning in Joburg as it normally is in the Free State in the middle of winter. So I am a little bit homesick this morning and thinking that it feels like if we're back in the Free State. So let's have a look at what happened in financial planning news this week. The first thing, if you haven't heard the good news for now, is that the SA Reserve Bank has left interest rates unchanged yesterday after 10 hikes in 21 months aimed at cooling inflation. And I think everybody who's paying debt and home loans will be very, very happy about this. So 3 members voted to keep the repo rate unchanged at 8.2%, while 2 wanted an increase of 25 basis points. So it was actually fairly close. This leaves the prime rate at 11.75%. On Tuesday, Stats SA reported that consumer price inflation had slowed dramatically to 5.4% in June from 6.3% in May, and that is also really good news. The last consumer inflation was below the Reserve Bank's maximum target of 6%, and that was more than a year ago in April 2022. The Reserve Bank has also now revised its headline inflation rate down from 6.2 to 6% for 2023. And it also lowered it to 5% in 2024 before stabilizing at 4.5% in 2025. So let's hope this is the end of interest rate increases for now. Then a second thing I want to point your attention to, and this is maybe something that can be shared far and wide with consumers, is that the FSCA warned the public this week to be very cautious when conducting any financial services related business with United African Stokvel. The FSCA suspects this Stokvel of conducting unauthorized business and breaching certain financial sector laws. They are not authorized to provide any financial products or financial services. United African has made claims on social media that it has applied for a FSP license with the FSCA, but the FSCA records that it has not received such an application. The social media pages of this Stokvel indicate that it is a digital Stokvel, and they invest clients' funds in property and telecommunications. It claims that the returns from these investments are used to pay client returns, but there are various complaints from clients stating that although they were promised returns, they have not received them. So on the 15th of June, the FSCA actually successfully conducted a search and seizure operation at the premises of the Stokvel, United African Stokvel, in terms of the Financial Sector Regulations Act. This was part of an ongoing investigation by the FSCA into the business activities of this Stokvel, and it was initiated after the FSCA received a whistleblower's report. So we will keep an eye on what is happening here, but I think there are more than one of these scams going around, and we really, as financial planners and financial advisors, have to educate not just our clients, but the greater public on how to spot and stay away from these type of things. And then there's a very interesting report that came out in Canada that indicated that Canadians who work with financial planners have higher levels of financial resilience than those who don't. This research was commissioned by FP Canada, and the study was conducted by the Financial Resilience Institute, which is a non-profit organization that aims to improve financial well-being. It is based on 5,000 Canadian respondents. And there's my cat. He's saying good morning. His name is Obelix because Obelix was also a ginger. This 5,000 Canadian respondents included 1,340 people who worked with financial planners. Households that worked with planners had a mean financial resiliency score of nearly 60 compared to about 48 for those who didn't work with planners. So at a time of economic volatility, with many Canadians facing affordability challenges, the Canadians working with professional financial planners have had experienced positive outcomes as related to their financial resilience. They created this index model used in the study. And what is financial resilience? It is a household's ability to get through financial hardship, stresses, and shocks as a result of unplanned life events. Now, that makes a lot of sense because when you do a financial plan for a client, this is exactly what you plan for, is the unplanned life events. So this resilience was measured across 9 indicators 3 times annually, and the index has a pre-pandemic baseline from February 2020. It is actually a really, really interesting report to read. And I will finish off with one last tidbit from this. About 48% of those with financial planners rated their financial well-being as good or excellent, while significantly more Canadians with financial planners having those higher levels of financial planning well-being, which amounts to 72%. So I think this is so important that it just shows the value of financial planning, especially when dealing with financial resilience, as well as planning for unplanned events. I mean, that is what we do. So from a very, very cold Joburg, I hope everybody stays warm this weekend. And thank you, Francois, back to you.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Really appreciate that. And next up, we have Norma, and Norma's talking about how entrepreneurship, the journey of entrepreneurship, rather, can lead us to self-validation.
Good morning. So glad to be back today. I have an interesting topic for you today. It is our entrepreneur journey to self. So that can be self-discovery, self-validation, self-love, self-acceptance, self-confidence. And as we know, this is a journey and not a destination. So as we grow, we seem to find sort of new levels and a new meaning to these words, and we also act them out very differently. So this journey of entrepreneurship is really the best school for, our self-discovery. We grow and we learn through this journey. We face challenges on a daily basis, a weekly basis, we get ourselves out of our comfort zone and we willingly sign up for these challenges. So it's really a place where we get to know ourselves so much better and we understand ourselves so much better. It's because we have these challenges and we face these challenges. So there's a lot of the celebrities and the people we follow also have these challenges that we have on a daily basis in our businesses. They talk about they don't belong sometimes. They walk into a room and think, oh, I don't belong here. They think that maybe they talking about a topic sometimes that who am I to be talking about this topic? They seek validation. And the same as us, we maybe seek validation from others on a consistent basis. We procrastinate because we are afraid of failing. And we want to control our outcomes, so we don't want to delegate work to our staff. So what I want to remind you about today is this thing called self-worth. So I think this self-worth is really fundamental in our lives, because if we have self-worth, then it will naturally flow that we will self-validate, we will self-love, self-accept, have that confidence and do that further self-discovery. But it's also so important for us to overcome and face these challenges that we have, on this consistent basis. So I want to give you a great sort of definition that I found from Christine Hibbert. So let me read it to you. She says, and she starts with, self-esteem is what we think, feel, and believe about ourselves. But self-worth is recognizing that I'm greater than all these things. It's a deep knowing that I am of value, I'm lovable, I'm necessary in this life, and of incomprehensible worth. So self-worth is that intrinsic worth. It's not something that is external. It's something that we find within us. It's always there. It's always consistent. It never changes. So I think it's important for us to see the self-worth as not something that we want to pursue. It is not something that we want to aspire to. It's already within us. It's like it's in our DNA. We don't need to go find it or do something or work to achieving it. It's already there. I listened to an interview a while ago, and what this woman said really changed my perspective on, this thing called self-worth. And I want to tell you what she said. Her name is Jamie Kern Lima. She said, "We don't rise to what we believe we're worthy. We don't rise to what we believe is possible. We fall to what we believe we're worthy of." Now, I think this is one of those statements that we need to hear more than once, so I'm going to repeat it. We don't rise to what we believe is possible. We fall to what we believe we're worthy of. So I want you, and I invite you to go out and think about this, and think about self-worth, and think about how you feel about self-worth. I want to invite you to really contemplate, maybe use it in your meditation or journal a little bit about it. So if you feel you're a person that maybe are ticking all those boxes, that you feel you're doing all the things, but still you don't have the results in your life, maybe this is your opportunity to go and look at that self-worth. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not something we pursue or we aspire to. It's already within us. So all we need to do is really just recognize it and accept it. And I think once we do that, it's going to be so much easier for us to be in this journey of entrepreneurship. We can be more authentic. We can show up to these challenges. And very importantly, we can stop sabotaging our efforts. And we can enjoy this journey a whole lot more. So go and think about your self-worth. And what is that level that you fall to, that you believe you are worthy of? So that's what I have for you today. I hope it was helpful. I'll be back next week. Have a great weekend.
Thank you very much, Norma. We really appreciate that. Next up, a bit of a quick tech tip. It's going to be very quick, I believe, unless I think of more things to say as we go through. But let's see what I've got for you this morning. Alrighty, so it's been a while since we've done a quick tech tip. And I think one of the things that's been top of mind for me in the recent while, and you know how much I love tech, I spend a lot of time investigating and trying and playing and using tech. So, the reason for that is that I'm a bit of a nerd. And then the second part to that is obviously because I want to share with you what I think is really the great things that can make a real difference in your business and possibly in your life as well. So that's really what my whole journey around tech is about. But if I think about sort of the dangers and the things that we just typically, it just happens, not intentionally, it just happens, is that we accumulate all these apps and we accumulate all these pieces of software. I know some people are paying like 10,000 Rand a month, 15,000 Rand a month, some even maybe more for technology in their business. And at some point, each and every single piece of software did play a very specific, very vital role. This morning, I want to invite you to go and look at if you can consolidate any of your technology, because otherwise it just gets more and bigger and more and bigger and just more expensive, etc. And if you're like me, paying for every single piece of software you use, apart from one, in dollars, then luckily I see the rand did strengthen a bit. I don't know, I didn't check this morning. But over the last while, since the beginning of the year, my costs have risen quite considerably because of the rand weakening. So one of the things that you definitely need to do every now and then, I would say at least once a year, is really look at an opportunity to consolidate tech. Now, what am I talking about? How do I even consolidate my tech? Well, if I think about a couple of things that I've been using. So you think about excuse me, you think about things like, for example, Notion that I am using. And Notion is a fantastic collaboration tool that I've been using for a long time. I pay for it because it's just absolutely worth it. I can do all sorts of things. All my business information is in there. All the how-tos, the processes, everything we've documented is in there. We track all the work in there. We do all that stuff in there. And I'm now at that point where I'm looking at I am paying for Microsoft Office, just as an example, and we have Teams, and we can do all that stuff in Teams. It's maybe not as sophisticated for some of the things that we're doing in Notion, but I also came to the realization that, Francois, you're trying to overcomplicate things. You want to see and do too many things. And then I make it hard for the people in my team to actually use this stuff. So it is very important to also not say, oh, but this software can do things that this software can't do. I guess the big question is, do I really need to do all this amazing stuff that this software can do, or is this enough? There's a reason why certain softwares have certain just basic functionalities, because we don't really need more than that. So I can really take any of my work management can go into Teams. Any of my sort of bookings, I can actually also use Microsoft if I wanted to and not pay for Calendly. But I'm so entrenched in Calendly, I don't think I'll move that, but it's possible to do that, so you can save on that cost. So there's quite a few things like that where we can really think about, are there things that software can do? And you'll find that as things move along, that software can do more and more and more stuff. They do incorporate, specifically the biggest software companies. It's easy for them to incorporate some of the things that the niche software oaks are doing as well. So just want to invite you this morning, think about make a list of all of the software that you're using, make a list of all of the costs and see where you are at, and then see, isn't there maybe something that can be done by another piece of software that you're already paying for? Or maybe there is a completely different piece of software that can combine all of this, but then there's a new learning curve and things that will come along with that as well. So maybe not the best thing. But if there's things you're already paying for, you're already using and accustomed to, and think about the things that can be done in your CRM. Have you found out, can all this be done? The fact that you maybe don't like it is besides the point. Now we go and use something else. We need to duplicate information. We need to update multiple systems. That's also not efficient. So go and have a look at, really interrogate the software you've got, and then make sure that that software is the software that you really, really use. I recently, for example, canceled our license for something called Ad Event. Now, Ad Event is something that we use when you book for one of our events. We would book, when you book, there would be an add to calendar link in there. And that cost me quite a lot of money every year just to be able to give you that link. Now, what happened is obviously the rand weakened, and then they doubled their prices. So when it was time to renew now in July, I canceled it. So we now have another way of doing it. It's not the best way. It's not the perfect way. It's not a better experience kind of thing. but at the end of the day, I can still do it and it doesn't cost me a cent. So, sometimes we've got to make those decisions for our businesses because otherwise, if we just get technology for the sake of technology, and because Francois says all the time, technology can make your life easier, you can become bloated from a tech point of view. So that's what I have for you this morning for the quick tech tips. Alrighty, so now I'm doing a lot of presenting this morning, but next up is some quick announcements. Alrighty, so if you don't know by now, the 22nd of August is the date for the Propulsion Summit. The theme this year is Ascend. The tickets are open and available, so they're $5.95 a ticket. So you can book for yourself, you can book for a group. So all of that happens on our system. The various different ways to pay for the tickets is very simple. So we do want to encourage you to go and grab your tickets. And we've got a phenomenal agenda for that. It's a one-day event from 9 until 3. We've secured, and I'm so excited about this. I can't announce the person's name yet. There's a couple of things that we're finalizing, but this person is an entrepreneur, an international entrepreneur that's built multi-million-dollar businesses in the UK, in Singapore, and in Australia. And I'm really excited to have this person be the closing keynote for this. So half an hour of absolute gold that this person is going to share. So I'm very happy for that. It's somebody that I've really been deep delving into what it is that they do, how they do it, etc. So it's really an amazing, amazing person to come and listen to. And then, as Nikki was talking about the Institute, or not the Institute, but she was talking about financial well-being this morning, we have the founder of the Institute for Financial Well-being, Chris Budd, doing the opening keynote on financial well-being and sort of why our advice is making our clients unhappy. So I'm really looking forward to that. So we are covering a load of things, the 6 biggest trends that will impact you and your practice from this year and going forward. So don't miss the summit. Please join us for that. We really appreciate your support, and we look forward to hosting you on the 22nd of August, completely virtual. The recordings will be available for 2 weeks afterwards. And then after that, only the Propulsion members will have access to the recordings. But for 2 weeks, the recording's there. So even if you can't make it on the day, you definitely do want to be there. And then we also just applied for the CPD. So as soon as we know, we will let you know how many points that would be. But that aside, that'll be a massive bonus. The content itself is life-changing. So do make sure that you attend Propulsion Summit. All right, that's that one. And then we've got the cash flow modeling, which started this week. So really excited. It was a fantastic first session that we had with Steve Martin. We really tackled a few things and spoke about a lot of stuff around assumptions and that. Next week, we have Tian Hasselman, who's going to join us. And we're going to be talking all about goals and timelines and what ifs and insights and all sorts of things to see where does this all fit in. Now, the cash flow modeling winter camp is exclusive to Propulsion members. So if you're not a member, do consider becoming one. You can see all the details. The links are down below, but propulsion.co.za, and you can get access to that and everything else that we do and attend the Propulsion Summit without any additional costs. So there's a ton of benefits if you're not a member. Right, so, well, if you become a member. If you're not a member, you can get access to all those benefits. If you're already a member, you already have access to all those amazing benefits and more coming. You have no idea what we have in the pipeline for that. So do jump on board and do join us at Propulsion if you feel it's a good fit. You've got to go make sure that this is for you because it is important. Right, then, very excited as well. We just announced one of the benefits for Propulsion members is that they got first access to the WhatsApp Marketing Masterclass, which is this week. So Rizana and myself presented this, and we are happy to say that on the 27th, Profile Me users will also have the opportunity to get access to this before it goes into the wild. And then in August, so if you are not a Propulsion member, you are not a Profile Me user, then you need to get onto the one that we'll be doing in August. So that date will be announced very shortly. You have to join the wait list. We're only going to open a limited amount of seats because of the nature of how we do this masterclass. So there will be a limited number of seats. and you need to be on the wait list so that you can hear about it first. And then there will be a cost involved to do that. So do join it. That link is also down below. All right, so much so for all the announcements. If you are really getting value from what it is that we do, please like this video, share it with everybody, and do subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow. It helps us get amazing guests on the show. So I really, really will appreciate if you can do this. Last week we said, oh, we got to 1,300. This morning we're on 1,311. So we grew by 11 more subscribers this week. So thank you very much to every single person who decides to click that subscribe button. It costs you nothing, but it makes a hell of a difference. So thank you very much for that. Alrighty, so next week we'll be back, same time, same place. We will let you know what we are doing next week. I have no idea as I stand here today, so we will see. But thank you very much for joining us and for being here. Have a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, be blessed and prosper. And remember to continue to raise the bar. And I don't know if the Springboks are playing. I hope not. But if they do, God bless. And love you lots. See you next week. Bye-bye.